Hey, I'm Teishi the Super Swordsman.
I'm Gandalf the White from Wave.
Hikoto from Angels of Apocalypse.
Today we're going to talk about the beginning of the game, making your character, getting your first job, and how all that works out in comparison to how all that's changed now in the new game.
From IRO to Renewal.
Yeah, Renewal, yeah.
Renewal sucks, by the way.
That's Renewal blows.
So basically, the overview of this is, like I said, if you haven't seen the first video that we put out, we used to be like originals from beta to pretty much after they got to Renewal, which just sucked.
On IRO Chaos.
Yeah, on IRO Chaos, exactly. So we used to be there since beta, since before you had to pay to play and all that. And we went back on not too long ago just to see what the server was like for shits and gigs. So we kept getting emails from the IRO Gravity team.
Come back!
Yeah, come back. Like, literally, they're like, please come back. So we're like, you know what, fuck it, we'll go back. And it sucks. So I've seen videos and I've seen people go from, like for myself, for example, I joined a guild when I went back. I was a 96 wizard. And I went from 96 wizard to a 99 high wizard in about, I think it was about like 5 hours. And the funny thing about that is it's actually slow. 5 hours is slow compared to what some people can do. They can do 99 in an hour. So we just kind of want to revisit what it used to be like back in the day compared to now.
I remember they didn't have a novice castle when we were playing. Like, they didn't have like a...
No, you started whatever...
Well, you started at a novice castle, but you didn't start with like fucking killing 10 pourings and get like 20
You didn't
levels.
have like a novice
area.
training ground.
Yeah, like a training area, yeah.
You had to level
they were
10?
Like... I remember they made you take a test.
Yeah, to see what you were fitted for.
Yeah, what they thought that... All the questions you had to ask. They asked you all these questions, and you had to answer them, and then they're like, this is what you're going to be. Would you like to agree with it?
Well, the funny thing is half the time you're like, fuck you, I'm going with whatever the fuck I want to go with.
But see, when I first started, I didn't think that was like a choice. Like, I remember I remade my character twice because of that.
Shit, I have to be a hunter.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be a hunter. But, when I first got it, I think I became I want to say merchant? Somehow. Maybe I got a merchant, I don't remember. And it's like, oh, really, that's what I gotta be?
I can't understand anyone that wanted to be a blacksmith as their main character. Like, there were...
It was
don't
bad.
Get me wrong, they were bad, but...
I think merchant was really bad, but when you got to blacksmith, it all kind of changed.
Everyone
I think
had
it
a
changed
merchant.
when it got to... Yeah, everybody had a merchant.
Because you need to sell whatever you get, but like I said, blacksmiths aren't bad, but it's just like, really? A blacksmith?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I just say that because like I used to like just own blacksmiths. Like, I never saw one blacksmith that was just like a cut above the rest.
But I feel
Whereas, like, wow, this guy's like really
It was
good.
kind of a rare job to use outside of like
anything
crafting,
else.
like crafting and selling stuff. But like when you did, they were pretty impressive, dude. I saw some.
Oh no,
amazing blacksmiths.
there were some that weren't that bad, right? They're like, they did all right, but it's just like whenever I saw another wizard or a hunter or a priest, anyone else literally except for that class, they were like cut above everyone else in their field. It was just like, wow. Like,
I do feel like blacksmiths are like a one-trick pony when it comes to like those kind of things. So there's only one kind of thing that they can do, like one kind of build, minus the crafting builds, right?
Yeah.
But like for their actual melee class, like
exactly. That's what I'm getting to, the melee class.
But
like,
we're getting away from the whole thing where we're going. So starting as a hunter, starting as a novice was always tough. I think starting as a novice was always a kind of tough ordeal.
Especially if you were going to be something that wasn't a melee class.
Especially like an acolyte.
Because like if you eventually wanted to be an acolyte or a mage, you have to start.
Mage was the worst.
Start your novice.
Thank you.
Mage was the worst.
Thank you.
Like you had that little that hexagon thing, it was a hexagon. It was like int. So you put 9 int, and so that means you have 0 strength or 1 strength. You have like no Vic because you want Dex, and then you put like agi or luck, and that doesn't fucking make a difference. And then you're supposed to like go and level up to level 10 or level 11.
No,
Yeah.
the only
Well, it was
way it would
usually-
have made sense
usually
if you
14.
did Dex.
I remember it was 14.
Well, it depends on what you get for job experience.
If you did Dex, Int, and then Vit, but they never had
You
those
couldn't
two.
do it if Vit
Exactly.
Vit and Dex are
It was exactly that's what they're opposites, so
Yeah.
you can't have them
So
there,
you have to
right?
pick agi and luck. It's like,
Exactly. Like
Great.
I think my character had like 9 luck this whole time.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck do I need luck for, man? Sitting there hitting someone with my wand, like
Those
one hit for
fireballs
every
need some
10
fucking
seconds.
crits, bro.
So dumb. But yeah, no. So pretty much,
Mage had the hardest, I think, because Mage and Acolytes had the hardest.
Yeah,
Just
because
leveling up because you don't-
you're not built to solo. And
Yeah.
back then, like, you wouldn't normally have someone to like help you because everyone's sort of at the same.
well, you know what?
place.
That's the beauty about wizards is that, yeah, you know what? Mage, it was kind of tough to level without someone else being there. And nowadays, like, people that actually play the new server, or not the new server, but like the pre-renewal or the post-renewal, I should say, they don't understand because they have 10 characters or whatever that are like level 150 and they have a whole guild to help them. But back in the day, it was really hard to level with a mage because you didn't know anyone. Everyone was new to the server. You had to make those connections. You had to try to do it. But the whole thing is, it was more just like, I'm going to do it myself. And then you kind of gradually build those connections, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's just like, for example, when I was 96 wizard, and I was just joining this guild, I was like, hey, does anyone, kind of want to help me level up? This guy was like, yeah, I'll get you to 99 in like less than an hour. 96 to 99 back in the day was a journey. Beyond a journey. It took you months to get a level, and now it's just like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll get you 96 to 99, give me less than an hour. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So what we're getting at is, back in the day, you'd start off at your hometown. So if you were, if you're lucky enough to be a knight, you're already in the main city, which is Prontera.
You had to go to Islu to change to swordsman, but that's like one.
That's one more.
It's one map.
It's
One
one
map
map away. So,
But it's the same for other classes. Like if you choose to be a mage,
That is
then
true.
They tell
We
you
go to
Geffen.
Geffen, but
But we'll touch on the mage quest later because that was fucking.
that was
the
ridiculous.
most bullshit quest ever.
But yeah,
that
like-
is probably the most bullshit.
So
class.
the major thing that we're hitting at here is we don't want to call ourselves pioneers, but we're basically pioneers to the game just started and there was no Wikipedia page or whatever. We started the game, we were all friends, and we're like, hey, we need to get to Prontera. That's the main city.
So we can at least like hang out.
Yeah,
with
how do we
each
get
other.
there?
It took me a month to know that calf rock and warp you. Because I used to walk everywhere. Like, I used to, like, go up and all these different
Yeah,
kind of
but
places.
we didn't have money to warp
Yeah.
everywhere. So the whole point was that once you logged in and once you got to, I was like, hey, I want to be a mage. I was in Geffen. We had to map our way out to get to Prontera. So imagine you just being like, hey, we're from Vancouver, BC. So like, hey, we want to go to Vancouver to Calgary or whatever, or California, wherever.
Yeah.
And that's without using any maps, any internet. It's just like, hey, let's just go for it and see what happens.
Let's just start driving. And
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
where
let's
we
just
end
see
up.
where we end up. That's pretty much
And on
how
top
it
of that, back in that day, no one had money to buy like 100 fly wings, and you just spam fly wings.
Yeah.
to
no.
get
You
the
literally you
I don't
started
think
the
we knew
game
what
with like
flagons were when we
how much
started.
was I think you started the game with like 500 zenny or something.
Yeah,
like
500
that.
zennies.
I think it was 500 zenny. We didn't have the luxury of just being like, oh hey, we
But see,
start
that
with
was
X
a good
amount.
thing when we first started. It's like we don't know what these things did, right? We don't know what butterfly wings were. We didn't know what
Well, even if we
fly
did,
wings were and stuff like that. So we just kind of just did it, right?
so
we
the
just
thing
went
is,
with
even
it.
if we did know what they were, we couldn't buy them.
I know that I know too, but like it was a good thing that we didn't know about it because then we got to like explore what Ragnarok was in a way, right?
Yeah.
So like
Ragnarok.
when I started in Payon, I didn't know about like Morocco, or I didn't know about Prontera.
We had to discover it ourselves.
The only thing I knew about was Alberta, because it's right beside Payon.
That's
It's like
pretty
two maps away or 3 maps away,
Yeah.
right? But still, like it's just it's that journey that you take from one city to another. Then you get to like see what kind of monsters you're gonna be fighting,
You know what,
or what
it
kind
was
of
the-
monsters you can see and then transitioning from one part of the continent to another part of the continent.
It's
It was
just
really exciting.
It's the journey of the whole experience. Like I said, nowadays you could start a new character, and you can get to 99 within like a week if you really want to. And that's being brand new, not knowing anyone. Back then, it was the funnest part about getting to where you wanted to be, which was like a 99 in a good guild, was the journey of getting there. It's just like, it's almost like, I mean, I don't want to sound super like lame, but it's like almost like real life. You start from nothing and you build yourself to something, and then you have that sense of accomplishment. Like, you know what? All those grinded hours that I did,
it meant something.
It meant something. Now it's just like me and Teishi here, we're in PvP, and this is our own characters, but I mean everyone's like
on the Renewal server, like
the Renewal server of
back
Chaos.
in, like 8 years later.
Yeah, so this is Renewal Chaos. We haven't been on for 10 years, 8 years, and we're like, hey, you know what? Let's go PvP, because I would live in PvP. As soon as PvP, like, we're OG to like the core. We were there when PvP first started, so I love PvP. So anyways, we went to PvP. And we had like some level, I don't know, like 120, 30 or something like that. Sura is what they're called now. They're monks, but they're Suras now or whatever. Third job class, or the renewals or whatever. And me and this guy, we destroyed him. We killed him in probably 10 seconds.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like it's just like ownage. And he comes back and he has this ridiculous equipment now. And we can't touch him. But we still put up a really good fight. Like, to the point where it was a battle. It was a struggle for him to try to kill us. Even though me and this guy probably did the most damage we do per hit is like 100.
Yeah.
And it was a struggle. But the whole point is, we had the skill to stand up against this guy who was, I don't know, like 30 levels above us with ridiculous gear. But he didn't know how to use his character. If we were the same level as him, we would have destroyed him.
Yeah.
But all these new guys that play this game, or new girls that play this game, they don't know how to use their characters. And like, the reason why we're so good, or why we used to be so good, is because we had to learn how to use our characters. For example, when we were mages trying to level, doing vertical firewalls. That was like a revelation, man. That was
firewalls.
The vert firewalls, like, it was just insane. I don't even know who made it.
It changed the game, honestly.
It literally changed. I could go to
that I see like mages soloing in Graveyard 2
or Graveyard.
Yeah, Graveyard,
towers,
whatever
Graveyard
it is.
was really good. Anything, literally anything that wasn't super fast and aggro, we could go to and gain so much experience because of that vert firewall. And no one knows about, like, all these new guys that play, they don't know about it. And it's just like, you know, like I said, we're going to call ourselves pioneers compared to these people that play now. Like, it's just day and night.
Remember when I was playing and I turned into a hunter. I was trying to like make like a different kind of bow. Back then, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Trying to make a fire bow. That was not a thing.
Yeah, he was trying to figure out what the recipe was.
Because everybody started making
to have a blacksmith make a fire bow for you, and we're like,
everybody's making
fire arrows. Right?
Everybody's making fire.
That
That was the problem.
Like,
that was the problem. I was thinking everybody's making fire flame burgers and fire falchions, whatever they're called. So I was like, I gotta make a fire bow. Little did I know that there were fire arrows. Fire arrows, silver arrows, which are the best arrows, and then normal arrows.
Yeah.
It used to be
those fire arrows.
It just used to, like. I mean, the main point we're trying to hit here, though, is it used to be like mystery goes a long way. When you have a little bit of mystery, and we didn't have a little bit, we had a whole world of mystery.
Yeah.
And it was just to try to get from, because we were all different classes, just to try to get to Prontera. I don't know how long it took us, probably a couple of days. or a whole day at least to meet up in Frontera, and it was just
Once you found the way.
It was just and then the
Once
thing
you
is,
found the way.
once you found the way, you wrote it down. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
it's two to the
north.
right, 2 warps to the right,
Yeah.
2 to the left or to the west, and then 1 to the north, or whatever it is. And the fact that you had to go through, like you said, all the different monsters in each region, it was just is beyond like anything that you could imagine. Like we don't want to seem like it's some magical thing, but like it's just
It was back then.
it was.
Absolutely.
It literally was. It's you're entering a new world you don't know. No one knew anything about this game,
One of the
and we went from city to city trying to find our friends in this neutral. I mean,
and when you
Teishi
when
here
you got to
was,
Frontera, you fucking saved the shit out of that.
Teishi
Yeah, like,
was
full of saving.
Teishi was like the the luckiest guy ever because he was just like, hey, where the fuck are you guys? And we're just like, we're coming, I think. It's just like
See you there in 6
And the whole thing-
hours.
A couple of days, more like it.
For me, when I started, I actually was an assassin, or I was a thief. So for me, I had to go from Barak to Frontera, which is actually isn't even that far. But, I mean, at the first go, it took forever. And then when I became a mage to become a wizard, I mean, we had money, we had the maps laid out, so it was a little bit easier. But, yeah, starting out, I wish that everyone that played RO could experience what we experienced. Because it makes you appreciate the game.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, people don't have the skill, they don't have the patience, they don't have the community for it, you know? Like, we used to just walk and someone would come up to us and be like, hey, do you know how to get to Frontera? We're like, hey, you know what, we're trying to find the same thing, let's go together and try to find it.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, do you know how to get to Frontera? They'd be like, yo, fuck off, and use a butterfly wing or something. It's like, what the fuck?
Person flywing.
Exactly, a person, I don't want to talk to him, right? Like, back then, it was just like, it's almost just like real, like I said, real life. Like, you meet someone on the street, you're like, hey, do you know where this is? Hey, you know what? I'm trying to find the same thing. Let's try to find it together. And that's how you create bonds. We actually had someone comment on our last video, and this is how deep the connection used to be. They used to have, like, we used to just meet people online, and, you know, you start to talk to them. This guy said that he met, his buddy met, a player online, and he bought her cat ears because she really wanted cat ears. Eventually, you know, they became more serious, girlfriend and boyfriend, they met up, and next thing you know, they're married, and they've been married for 15 years. That's how deep the community used to be.
Yeah.
Like Ragnarok Online, it was like a phenomenon, man. Like, it's just, you play any other game, where do you meet people that are like, oh, yeah, we met on an online game. I was from Canada, he was from, the US. We met up, we had a good connection, now we're married and we got kids. Like, that's how deep the community was. Now, we used to go on and people don't give a shit. They're just kind of like, oh, you're a bum, you're a 99 wizard, I'm a fucking warlock, 150 level. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. You know shit. I could kick your ass. If we had the same skill level, I could kick the shit out of you because you don't even know how to use your warlock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's so played out now on the official server that
It's just too easy.
you forget about the fun part of the game, which was getting to that point.
Like, props.
These guys just get given. There's like quests in the new game.
You can pay for stuff.
Yeah, you can pay to get.
It's like, oh, I'm going to pay you. It's like, oh, you get, 100 more experience percent. Like, get the hell out of here, man. Like, the whole point of the game was to grind out, to meet new people, to make these connections, and it's like literally going to a new, like, a lot of gamers play games, and I don't want to make it seem like a bad thing, but to, like, almost escape reality, to go into a new reality. To start somewhere and, like, just start fresh and just do whatever needs to be done. And the whole thing with this game is just, like, everything's laid out for you. If you're like, hey, you know what? I don't really want to start from zero. You can just pay and you can have, like, 1 billion zenny now or something, and you can get anything you want.
Yeah.
And it's not fun, man. Like, they don't understand what it's like to just, like, if you buy a new game for PS4 or Xbox One, you can't just, get to level whatever, like, get to the max level and get all the stuff, all the gear you want. You have to work for it, right? that's what games should be like, and that's what IRL used to be like back in the day.
Yeah, they've really made it. They really jumped the shark with the game, and it's too kiddie. Like you can jump to level like 70 or 80, like with some quests, like
Probably
in, like, 20
within
minutes.
20 minutes.
It's like what? Like
it took us a lifetime
getting from
to get
level
there.
1 to level 80 is the game. Like you skip the game.
Exactly.
Like,
That's
you
where you
skip
get
the
your
game,
and that's the whole thing. That's where you get your skill.
Yeah.
There's 1 to 80, and then you refine those skills and get to the mastery level when you're like getting from 80 to 99,
Yeah.
right? But you skip the 1 to 80, so you don't know how to use your character. I understand why they did this because they have to evolve the game, right? But I honestly think if they, because I don't know how many people play this on that server, probably less than 2,000.
Oh, not that much.
Not even, right? Like maybe 1,000, 1,200.
Probably like 1200.
When we were at our peak, we had like 4,000 people on Chaos. I think
there's tons, man. Yeah.
I think if they kept the way it was, just added maybe new maps, harder bosses. You know, when they added WoW and PvP, which we'll discuss in other chats here. When they add stuff like that, I think they would have been more successful as opposed to just being like, hey, let's just keep adding more classes.
Yeah, and
'Cause they needed to
expanding
keep
the
it
levels and
fresh.
stuff. It's like
I think they just got to the point where
what
like,
they should have done.
forget it, let's just make as money as
As
much
well.
money as we can, and just hey, you want to be a level 99? Just pay $20 and you can
Yeah.
get as much XP as you want. Like that.
Yeah, like just some of like the later jobs, like the second and third jobs, are just like so ridiculous. Like they're not even. It's not even Ragnarok anymore. It's just like
I'm a Taekwondo master. Like what the fuck is a Taekwondo
yeah, and then there's
master?
the guy that can like dispel all your shit. Like we walk into PvP, and I'm like a level 90,
Oh, yeah.
97 knight or whatever, and I'm walking on my Peko Peko, and someone just walks up to me and just like
Dispels his
just
Peko Peko.
deletes my Peko Peko. It's like what? Come
And
on,
you have to go
man.
all the way back and get another one.
Yeah, like that just like I don't like that's okay, like whatever. And then they have like moves that deal. I mean, we dealt with a Shiro Strike or Guillotine Fist, and
Or
whatever.
Guillotine Cross.
No,
Guillotine Cross.
the move.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
We dealt with that, and that was like yeah, it was super strong, but it was sort of it had its pros and cons. Like you could only use it once, and then you wouldn't regain MP or SP after. Like it sort of fit with the system, but like after you could use it on like the second and third class, it just gets so ridiculous to the point where you just keep spamming it, and like the regeneration items, you could get them so much easier, and you just spam Guillotine Fist. It's just like I just yeah.
It's just the new classes are. I don't
Yeah,
like the
just-
fact that
just
they
silly.
shift the position of power. Where it's just like, oh, you have an assassins? Assassins suck, so let's just make them where you can be a guild cross or whatever, and you can just own everyone now.
Yeah, they had like
That's what they did, basically.
just some Soul Destroyer or something that dealt like fucking five
Cross
digits,
impact or
five
something,
digits of
yeah.
damage or something. It's like what is happening? Like what happened to like the hitting each other part of the game? It's
If
just
anyone,
sort of, like,
if anyone
press
has
through, win
suggestions,
battle.
if anyone has suggestions on a new server that we can play that's classic, pre-renewal, that's not like, oh, you pay $20 and you get 100% more experience, anything like that, leave your comments.
Hit us up in the comments, yeah.
Yeah, leave the comments in there because we're looking for a new server. Obviously, we're not going to be as hardcore as we used to be, you know, playing like 10 hours a day. But, you know, we're looking to get back into it just for a hobby, just for the fun of it. So, yeah, I mean, if anyone has any suggestions, leave them in the comments. That seemed like a really good place to cut it.
Yeah.
It was like,
Well, I thought you guys were gonna do an outro.
Huh?
An outro.
yeah, no, of course, no, I was just messing around. But yeah, no, the main thing that we're putting in this, I don't know what to call this. It's not a vlog. It's not a video. It's
It's not
like
a vlog. Yeah, it's not a vlog. 'Cause we don't
It's
have
like a
video.
podcast slash
It's a
YouTube
Ragnarok
video.
podcast.
But yeah, I mean, if anyone has any suggestions for any new players, maybe even old players, because we're really trying to connect with the old players that understand where we're coming from. If you have a server that we can go onto that's pre-renewal, that used to be like the old days, and any new players that are looking to play, because we've had some private messages about back in the old day, and we don't know what to tell them. You know, we're telling them that it's hard to get to what we used to do, because nowadays you can get to level 99 in a couple hours. So if anyone has any suggestions about that, just let us know, because we would love for people to experience what we experienced, because it was beyond words. It was one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
Absolutely.
And if anybody has any other suggestions for the show, just let us know. We'll try to hit some of those topics. If anybody has another topic for another show that we can do, we'll try to touch it.
We literally did the first one because we were just randomly talking about it and we're drunk. And we said to ourselves, even though it doesn't seem like a big milestone, we said if we hit over 100 views, that we'd make another one. And we're almost at 200 now. I think like 160 or something. So that blew our... Even 100 we thought we would never hit, because, I mean, it's a random video about RO. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have any other ideas, suggestions, hit us up. Yeah, and we'd love to have further discussions with anyone else. If anyone else wants to get in touch and be on the show, let us know.
Let us know, yeah.
Let us know, because we'd love to get some original players back on the show and, give their comment about what happened.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll see you on RO soon. I'm Taishi, the Super Swordsman.
I'm Gandalf the White from Wild Blades, aka part of Wave.
I'm Makoto from Age of Apocalypse. And we'll see you guys next time.
Take it easy.